Let's get
What's
it.
going on, everybody? It is Culture Mania yet again. I am Donovan, and I am here with the baddest man on the planet, Jon Connor. How are you this week, brother?
Let's go. It is always a pleasure, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So, we are terrestrially recording 5/4/25 today. So, when this comes out, you guys are going to be like, what's going on? Craziest things have happened these last couple of days. Overall, this week in professional wrestling has actually been it's gotten me hyped, and it's gotten me hyped in creative ways that I didn't think was going to happen. But overall, when I texted you the other day and I was like, hey man, I have a theory for Paul Heyman's new faction after the way they sold themselves, and obviously the attack on Sami Zayn and the way that Braun is presented, the way that Seth, how he talks, how he says, you don't have to sell out. You can buy in, you can get moved to SmackDown, this, that, and the other. The way that these guys are, it's a mixture of the bloodline, the authority, this is corporate Rollins again. Um, Overall, my biggest thought and something that I'm super excited for is who's going to be the next person to join the group. Uh, and I really think you might like this. I don't know if you've known him too much from NXT, but Tony D'Angelo, the Don of NXT, I think would be the best fit as the third guy on this faction.
Okay, now give me his backstory and background because I'm not as much of an NXT guy. So give me his backstory, put me on game so now I can go type in and check him out.
So Tony D'Angelo is a mafioso style gimmick. He's very much Sopranos, Godfather, literally that. I mean, Italian descent. He's got the long hair, puts it up in a man bun, wears an A shirt when he gets into the ring, this, that, and the other. And I was like, the thing that hooked me on the most is he's known as the Don of NXT. So throughout his time, it has always been like you can't do this without my permission, without the Don's
Mm,
permission. Or he's had to have his mafia, his group, come and help him overcome certain obstacles, whether that be face and or heel, has had to do that. So when I see that, I know that not all of them are going to get called up. Respectfully, they're still the other three members of his group still need to grind and build their characters and build the success that they need for NXT before they get called up to the main roster. But I just have this vision in my head, and it's a backstage segment. You know, Roman had his own locker room. He always had his own locker room in the the vignettes or whatever, the promos backstage. He always had a nice locker room. And I imagine that's what they're going to do with Paul Heyman's guys now, is
mhm.
that they're going to give them this nice, elegant area. Braun is going to become kind of like what Wardlow was essentially to MJF. I feel like that's what Braun's going to do now,
Right.
and maybe not be on the mic as much, which I don't agree with because the dude's got it when he's on the mic. But
Hmm.
to walk in and have this guy pinstripe suit, fedora, walks in, and it could go of one of two ways. He said, he hands Paul Heyman a card and he says, "When you need me, I will be here. Let's work together." Or Paul Heyman brings him in to Seth Rollins because Braun already knows who he is. So
Right,
Braun
right.
can look surprised, but to Seth and be like, I figured we needed one more guy. And just to have him come shake his hand, be like, this is I can't wait to be part of the family, and just have that vibe of, okay, Seth is now mentoring the literal next generation of this company. Um, is something that I'm super excited for. I think is going to be something unique overall, and that's where I am. I'm like Tony D'Angelo. That's the money right there. That it feels
Tony
so right.
D'Angelo. So okay, Tony D'Angelo. That's my homework for the night. Tony D'Angelo on NXT. And so, has he ever held a championship? Had like what's his push been like?
So he has held the NXT tag team. He took out Oba Femi to become the North American champion. He currently was the first feud of this new, it's kind of like NXT, kind of. I hate that people are saying it, but it is. NXT has already kind of made another version of the Shield. They're called the
Really?
Dark State, but they're cool. They're like really cool guys. They actually have more character than when the Shield first came out. This is like Shield 2.0, where now these guys can have character and not just be the Shield. Um,
Mm,
but as of right now, it's starting to be like I've just always vibed with that, with his, just him. Like I've always vibed with it. Anytime he does an interview, I'm like, man, I gotta listen to this. That is a person I definitely want to just sit down, whether it be here or downtime in the ring, and just have him on and be like, hey man, like how did this all come together? But overall, his push, he's a fan favorite for the NXT family or the NXT loyal. Um, Definitely on every pay-per-view. He's kind of his position in NXT is kind of like Drew or Damien. It's like he's
ah.
always there, always in the world title picture, but sometimes sometimes he's needed elsewhere.
I could dig it. Okay, yep. That's my homework for the night. That is definitely my homework for the night. I do agree with you 100% that I wish that they wouldn't have stopped Breaker from talking. I agree he will be like the Wardlow or like the Double A, the Arn Anderson. You know what I'm saying? What Arn Anderson was to the Four Horsemen or what Batista was to Evolution. You know what I'm saying? Like just being that silent muscle. But even though we might not like the fact that Braun Breaker isn't going to be talking as much right now, I think that that sets him up for whenever he does eventually leave this faction. You know, when he does get to talking his shit again, like it'll make us 10 times more excited. So we'll have to endure this time period because that's all the ammunition he needs for the inevitable breakup when he is like, Heyman, I'm tired of you talking for me. I can speak for myself, and him to just cut some amazing fucking promos, man.
Oh, 100%, man. And I mean, like I say, man, I'm sad that he's probably going to be what Wardlow is. And I love Wardlow. That's another guy I would definitely love to have on. But it's just that way of they throw a suit on him and he's trending on Twitter. He's trending on X because all these women are like, I've never seen him in a suit, only in cowboy gear. I'm like, they knew what they were doing. They know
Yes.
what they can do with him. He's super brandable. He's gonna have so much fun, you know, terrorizing whichever roster that they end up going to, because I know we're gonna have a draft here this year. And just the way that it is now, it's Seth's going, you don't want to be here, we're gonna hurt you if you're here, and I love you, and then finally just allowing Braun to hurt Sammy. It's just that it's that way of like, we had to deal with the bloodline for 5 years, roughly about 5 years. People want to say four because of the title. I say before the title, when Roman was just, beating up the Usos just to make them loyal. We had to deal with that for about 5 years, and now we're getting into the point where we're like, oh, there's no bloodline, there's no blood connection to this. It is all money, all power.
Yep.
I love it. I can't wait.
And I think it stays true to, you mentioned the authority earlier. I think that it stays true to the underlying character of who Seth Rollins has always been. He's always been the one who wanted to be out front, who would, you know what I'm saying, who would definitely sell out in order to get into the position that he wanted to be in. Even, I don't know if you watched the Rock's interview on Pat McAfee, and he said a main event talent hit his phone and said, I can't wait to sell my soul. Like he got that text message from Seth Rollins that he could, So I think that that plays into who Seth Rollins has always been, the ultimate opportunist. You know, I know that's Edge, but an opportunist, an opportunist. You know, willing to cash in at a sneaky moment at a WrestleMania. You know, willing to align himself with Stephanie and Triple H in the past and stab his brothers in the back. And so now we watch him as he evolved over the years. Now he's stepped into that position as, you know what? I want it all now. And so I think that is a dope character progression for Seth Rollins. I'm looking forward to seeing what that looks like as in the weeks to come. Of what does Seth Rollins, the sellout opportunist, as a Paul Heyman guy slash leader slash main eventer slash scumbag, like what does that look like in the weeks to come? And like you said too, I can't wait to see who else joins this faction, if anybody else, because I think it could be pretty successful with the three people they have right now. But I think much like a NWO, I think that it could become very interesting to see who else is willing, you know, who else is willing to sell out in order to get to where they think that they need to be. And so I think it's gonna be fun to watch. Also, um, I love this for Sami Zayn, man. You know, we hadn't seen Sammy in a while. One of the ultimate underdogs. I can't wait to see how this develops for him. I know Sammy's not about to trade brands to get away from Heyman and get away from Seth, or to even get a title opportunity. So I'm looking forward to seeing this Seth Rollins versus Sami Zayn conflict, man. It's gonna be dope.
And it makes me wonder too with this because Paul Heyman goes up to Sammy and says, "I can get you the winner of Cena Randy," and I'm like, is Nick Aldis going to be a part of this in some way? Like, there's no way that you can just be like, yeah, you move over there, I'll get you the next main event. I won't get you, I can't get you Backlash, but I'll get you the one after that. And I'm like, this is getting more and more intertwined now.
Yep.
And this is a perfect way for Nick Aldis to come back because I know Nick Aldis wants to have at least one or two more matches before he finally hangs it up. You know, he get wants to have it in WWE, and this is a good way to do it too, where somebody's messing with Aldis. They can have a 6 man featuring Seth, Braun, Aldis against whoever, and that's just a perfect way to do it. Um, but it is interesting, and it's those little things that now I have to, everybody has to look out for, and they're like, well, how can Paul get him the main event? How can Paul get him against the winner of Cena and Randy? Is something that now we're like, oh, this is going to be worse off. This is going to be worse off than what we thought. This is a whole power struggle now, and it makes more sense too with when you had Pierce gone and Aldis was running Raw, and he still allowed certain things to
Right.
happen. And I'm like,
Exactly.
okay, all right,
Exactly.
all right.
Exactly,
So
exactly, exactly. They got me. My ears are perked. I'm tuned in. I'm ready. And also just to add that, I'm just so happy for Braun Breaker because it's gonna shine a light on him that the light was already on him and he was already a star. But I think that when you put people like Braun Breaker in a faction, especially one that is with Heyman and with Rollins, like two people who are just cemented into the main event scene, it is gonna do nothing but elevate Braun Breaker, man.
oh, 100%. And I mean, when we're talking about and now we're going into all the young guys that are going to be called up or moved. Trick Williams, I feel like once you that's somebody you definitely need to look up. Just keep your eye on Trick Williams out of Reality of Wrestling with Booker T School. He's got it. He's going to be the main event in 3 4 years. That is a mania match. That's a marquee match right there. Whatever he does, whatever you slap your name on with him, it'll be amazing. And now we're starting to get it up into call up season. We're seeing Roxanne Perez do a little bit more on Raw. We're seeing Trick Williams has been going to TNA and trying to making social media posts saying he's ready for the next step. This is a fun time in wrestling. you know periodically throughout the year, normally in the past, it'd be the worst time because we get done with WrestleMania, we go into Backlash. And traditionally, Backlash was a super tough pay per view because we're starting over and we're trying to figure out what we're building up to next year for Mania or for SummerSlam. And now this one, it's like, okay, like I'm personally struggling with if I want to go to an indie event this weekend as of when this episode comes out. Backlash will have already happened, but as of right now, I'm struggling trying to figure out if I want to go to that or if I want to watch Cena versus Randy for the very last time because that's what it's being labeled as. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that's my childhood right there. So it's a fun time. Overall, what in this week kind of peaked out a little bit to you from either company?
Hmm. What peaked out to me this week? I love the fact I'm loving. Wow, that's funny that you asked me that because I really had to think of what peaked out for me. Chelsea Green is a star. I love Chelsea Green. The fact that she was mourning her U.S. title loss and she came out in all black with the veil, with the veil. Listen, I love everything about pro wrestling. I love the in-ring work, but I also love the entertainment aspect of WWE. And I think that it can't be stated enough how valuable Chelsea Green is to the SmackDown brand and to WWE as a whole. I love how she's continuing to go on with this whole the fact that she was the US champion and so she acting like she the president and mourning the loss of the US title and coming out there with the Jackie O P coat on. I love that. Let me see what else stood out to me. I got to really think about what else happened on Raw and SmackDown. Um what else stood out to me? I love the fact that Zelina Vega is the U.S. champion. We talked about that. Um, I'm looking forward to Solo and Jacob Fatu. I'm liking where they're going. Um, I got to think
One
about
thing about that, real quick, the fact that now we have a fatal four way.
Fatal
It's
Four Way.
building.
Yes.
You called it. It's building. It's getting there because now Solo had to open his mouth and he added a extra man. And my immediate thought was he didn't do that. He didn't do that on accident. He did
Yeah.
not do that on accident.
So
I can't stand.
it's ultimately leading to that to Solo versus Jacob Fatu, and I think that's gonna be great for both of them. Matter of fact, while we talking about it, I had a chance to watch Stephanie's Places with the episode with her in the Bloodline recently. Did you get a chance to watch that?
I have not. How good was it?
Man, I think I might watch it again. I already had a huge amount of respect for their family, for their lineage, their bloodline, their heritage. But seeing them all together and hearing them express the love they have for each other and watching them come up, it's a beautiful thing. So seeing Jacob and seeing Solo be in a storyline together where Jacob now can help to elevate, get Solo where he needs to be is a beautiful thing. And I recommend it for anybody who hasn't watched it. You should go watch Stephanie's Places with the Bloodline. And y'all gonna know what I'm talking about. The food that they eat on the yacht look good as shit. Like I want to eat everything that they uncle was cooking. So if you watching this and you watch Stephanie's Places, you know what I'm talking about. That food looked amazing. But I recommend anybody watch that. But yeah, Solo and Jacob Fatu. I'm looking forward to see how that continues to evolve. Shoot. What else happened on Raw? Like because Raw seemed like a million years ago to me now.
Honestly, it does to me too. It's that weird. It's just a weird part. There wasn't really big aspects, and like I said, we're slowly trying to build. I mean, we have Pat McAfee going up against
That's right,
John,
right. Pat and Gunther at Backlash, right?
and there's a weird. So I saw these guys. There's it's called the Fight Club Wrestling Podcast. I think is what it's called. I may be wrong. I'm probably wrong on the name. Um, it's these four guys and they always they have a wrestling podcast and one of them did something very unique. He deep dived and he said that there's a theory going around that somebody is going to help McAfee
Mm,
come backlash. And obviously, by the time this comes out, it'll already happen. So hopefully, I'm speaking it into existence because as much as people would hate to see it, I kind of want to see it because he's my dude.
yeah.
Goldberg said he wanted his last match against Gunther. So if Goldberg comes, helps McAfee, builds that up for Mania to be his final retirement match, I'm not mad at that at all.
I'm not mad at that
I'm
either. That would be the most they always preach about legitimacy in pro wrestling. Like you want to have storylines or you want to, put matches together that, legitimize a performer. How much more legitimate would it be for Gunther to be Goldberg's last match? I mean, if you want to go out like with somebody who you really believe could put Goldberg down for the last time, it's Gunther.
and a lot of people, this is where I'm coming into it. A lot of people are like, okay, Gunther needs, how is Gunther going to take the belt off of Cena? Or how is Gunther going to get his championship back from Jay? And my immediate thought is he's had more time with the belt in WWE in any way, shape, or form, UK, main roster, or anything like that. Like he's had more time with a belt than he has it. We need Gunther without one. We
Right.
need to just have Gunther.
I agree. And I think that that was really cool because my thoughts after WrestleMania was after him having a title for so long, how does his stock not go down? Because now his reputation has been built up so much as I'm unbeatable and 80% of my career or whatever I've had a belt, what or a title, what do you do with that? I think that having him attack Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, I'm like, that's how you do it. I think that's one time. I think the writers definitely they got it right with that one because the thing is, it's not so much the belt or the title itself that is legitimizing Gunther. It's the fact that he's that tough and that good of a wrestler. So what you really it's not so much that you want to keep reminding people he should be a champion. What you're trying to remind people is that this dude is tough as shit. And you don't necessarily need the title to prove that he's tough as shit. He doesn't have to be unbeatable for you to be reminded that this dude is mean, he's tough, he's cerebral. And I think by having him attack the announcers does the same thing for Gunther that having the world championship does for all of those days or whatever. It reminds you that he's tough. It reminds you that he's mean. Like it's like without him having to have a 40-minute long match of him chopping people in the chest, that one thing, that one little aspect in his character of I don't care whether you gonna respect me, whether it's a active competitor, a ring announcer, I don't care. I'm Gunther, you gonna respect me, and you know what I do, I hurt people. No pun to the hurt business, but I hurt people. That's what I do. And I think that him attacking the announcers was good for Gunther's character as far as where do you go with Gunther without a title? You have him keep doing dastardly things. You have him keep doing things that almost make you want to turn away from the screen. That makes you forget about the fact that he doesn't have a title right now. I don't think that it's a good thing to always have somebody associated with the title because then when they don't have it, like I said, it makes their stock go down in your eyes. So I think that this is a good time while he doesn't have the championship to do some good character work on Gunther so that he's even more scary and intimidating when he does get his world championship back because now he's on a whole other level.
Yeah, and it gave, like, so when I was watching it, it gave me a bit of anxiety. Like it felt like we shouldn't do this. Like it's kind of like the mom getting mad. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
he did something really bad here. He touched the announcers. He attacked Michael Cole, Pat McAfee, who has put on fantastic matches when he's had them. So now it's getting to the point where it's a true legitimacy test, like you said, for two people. One, what is Gunther gonna do now that he doesn't have a title? And two, can Pat still do it? Because he's only had Theory and he's only had Adam Cole. He's only had guys close to his size. He's never had a monster like this. So it is that kind of thing where it's like, okay, all right. point. We're getting to this point now, and I can't wait. I love Pat, so I'm super excited for Backlash. Backlash overall, other than Lyra and Becky, is looking really good.
So you gotta fill me in on Lyra Val. How do you say her last name?
Valkyria.
So, like I said, it's definitely a knock on me, but I'm not a huge NXT guy because I'm like, if they're good enough, or if I'm supposed to know who they are, they'll make it to the main roster, and then my history with them will start from there. But people always
Yes.
tell me, bro, you should watch NXT. Like, you really should watch NXT, and I am. I promise to everybody watching, I am eventually going to get into NXT. But please, but because as a person who only watches the main roster, I don't understand, or I'm not educated on why Lyra is getting this huge push, because I haven't whatever she was doing in NXT, I haven't seen it translate to main roster yet. Like, to the point where she's the first women's intercontinental champion, and she had the tag belts and the intercontinental championship at the same time. So in my mind, it's like, who is this girl? Why does WWE want me to like her so much? Because as of right now, I haven't seen it translate to connecting with the audience on the main roster. So can you fill me in on her history, and can you tell me if I want to be very careful with my words, because I respect all pro wrestlers, and I'm not the judge of who deserves what, or whatever the case may be. So I'll never say, does she deserve this push? I should say, can you fill me in on what she's done to this point, to put herself in position to get this push?
So it's one of those weird ways because personally I can't stand her, and that is because I've watched so much up to this point where I'm
Uh,
like, there are five other women that deserve this spot who have been here longer and done more.
mm,
Respectfully, she has that camaraderie with Becky. They're both Irish born. She is one of the top women to come out of Ireland after they've learned how to wrestle, because, thank you to Finn for teaching Becky. Becky now is able to mentor a lot of other women to do this. Overall, though, she is a fan favorite. I don't know why. Um, when I can't compare her to any other woman in NXT or in the main roster, because if I do, people will obviously be like, you're wrong. But she has that aura about her, like a Dakota Kai, or maybe a who's another lady that got big, that was big, like Caitlyn, like when Caitlyn was around. Like, she has that aura about her where people just genuinely want her to win, and she is a fan favorite. And I mean, she does have good ring work. It's just not creative into my way where I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that constantly. So um other than multiple, I believe she was an NXT Women's Champion at one point. Um, she's just had multiple pushes, and it was easier to slap the Intercontinental on her being the first, for her to be the first one compared to anybody else. And I know people are going to be like, Natty will eventually get it. Don't get me wrong. Natty's going to get it. We all know this. But Natty's wilding out right now at the NWA. Um, so it's just it's tough for me to try to tell you like why she deserves this, because just my own biases, she doesn't. There's a lot more women that could have gotten this. I even think that they're pulling the trigger a little too hard, trying to have
I
her push
agree.
Becky. Like,
Listen,
why?
I agree, bro. Listen, I'm gonna be real with you. I felt some type of way when she was the first Intercontinental Champion. I really felt like, just to piggyback what you said, it's a lot of it's a couple other women that I felt like, for history's sake. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you go back and you play, like, for Natty, would have been I wouldn't have been mad at all if Natty, Natalia Neidhart, would have been the first women's intercontinental champion. Sometimes I feel like WWE does things like in the moment that
Mhm.
like, okay, this is gonna be funny. I can't even believe I'm about to bring this up, but I got to. WWE never acknowledges the first black intercontinental champion. It was Ahmed Johnson, okay? Ahmed Johnson was the first black intercontinental champion. I watched him beat Goldust at King of the Ring 96. And as a little black boy in the hood, I was jumping up and down. I couldn't believe it. Ahmed Johnson. And they never mentioned that because I feel like, that's one of them situations where they booked something in the moment and didn't think about how it will play for the sake of history.
Mhm.
And because of that, we never even during Black History Month, we never even mention Ahmed Johnson. We never talk about Ahmed Johnson because of whatever he did, behind the scenes, or he didn't
Mhm.
become as big a star as they thought he might be, or whatever the case. Now, I'm not saying that's the case with Lyra because she has a long career in front of her, but I just would think that for the sake of history, Natalia Neidhart, for the sake of history,
Yeah.
sounds a little better as the first women's intercontinental champion. God bless Lyra. I hope she does amazing things, and I hope she prove us wrong because I want any human being that's doing what they love and what they always dream to do for a living. Like I never, like a long time ago, I stopped saying what people deserve because I don't know their story. I am
Right.
just an onlooker and a spectator and a fan of the product that I see on TV. So I am in no way a judge of who deserves what. I'm just saying from the outside looking in, I don't understand the push that she's currently getting. And it's funny because you're familiar with her and you said that you don't understand why she's getting the push. So I don't get it. I hope she proves me wrong in the weeks to come. I don't understand like the wing gimmick, right? She come out there with the
Yeah.
wings on. Like, what is that supposed to be? Like, what are you supposed to be? I don't understand. Like, I don't get it. I don't get the gimmick. I think her in-ring work is cool. I haven't really heard her cut a promo that made me just be like, that's it. That is it. So I hope that she proves me wrong, and in the weeks to come, it starts to make more sense as to why WWE seems to want all of us to put her on a pedestal. That she I'm hoping because I'm being very careful.
Yeah.
It seems like WWE just want to put her on a pedestal, and I hope she puts the work in and does things on television that proves why she deserves to be there.
I am going to pull up real quick because speaking of NXT and things that WWE has done that seems like it's in the moment and we don't quite understand, there was a huge thing that happened this past week as of this recording that threw a lot of people off.
Uh
So,
oh.
we traditionally go through this every year. It always shocks people, and I never know why because it happens. We had another purging. We had another wave of releases, and this one was a little bit different. This one kind of hit people in a wrong way, and for a good amount of it, it was NXT people, but part of it was the main roster. Some of the main roster got released or were told, hey, your contract's not getting renewed. Start looking somewhere else.
Mm.
Um, and I will say just I'll just say the main roster people as of right now was Shayna Baszler, which threw a lot of people off.
So
Dakota
these
Kai.
releases are current, like now.
Yeah, these happened Friday, Thursday, Friday, Friday, Friday,
Wow.
Friday, right like an hour before SmackDown. These were going down.
Wow. Okay, shoot
Shay-
it to me because I haven't seen this list.
Shayna Baszler,
Mm.
Dakota Kai,
Mm.
Braun Strowman,
Mm.
Caden Carter, Katana Chance, Shotzi Blackheart are the main roster people. Though
Wow.
that yeah. Those are
Give
the
me that one
those
again.
are the
Give me that one again, and I'll give you a comment on each person.
Shayna Baszler.
I saw that coming because I feel like from WWE's standpoint, they're looking at it like we've given you a bunch of opportunities to get over, and we don't know that you're hitting the mark on where we feel like you should be at this point. So I hope that she continues in pro wrestling because I always enjoyed her work. But if I was looking at it from the office standpoint, I think that they look at it like she's been there long enough to where they would have hoped that the progression was greater.
Dakota Kai.
Dakota Kai, damage control, right?
Damage control.
So I look at it like I feel like Asuka is a certified star. They've just made Io Sky a certified star. I feel like Kairi Sane is a certified star. And I feel like with her not being able, with Kyrie gone and Oscar gone, it kind of, and then now EO raising to a whole nother stratosphere. I think that from the office standpoint, it might have kind of been like, well, all of the other members of this faction have kind of elevated, and you're just kind of staying stagnant. And also, she was kind of injury prone, right? Like she was
Mm-hmm.
gone like a
Very
couple
much.
times due to the injuries, correct?
Yep.
So maybe this could be a situation where they might be giving her some time off to kind of, I don't know, get it together, figure it out, or whatever the case may be. But I just think that I think with her, it probably was a situation where it's like, we need you to mature character wise and learn how to connect with the audience, like we've seen Oscar and EO do, and take yourself to that next level. Because when you stand next to those three, it's almost like EO, Oscar, and Kyrie, and the other girl, and you don't want to be the other girl.
Yeah. Braun Strowman.
That's kind of a surprise because he just was into it with Jacob Fatu, and he just had a also before that, didn't him and uh what is my man name? He's out on injury right now. Oh my goodness. He had just joined the bloodline and then got injured.
Oh, Tongaloa.
No, he's from the UK. He was the
Okay.
fifth member of the bloodline team at the last Survivor Series.
Oh, give me 1 second.
You
It
know who I'm
was
talking about.
yeah, War Games 2024. It was. Let me see.
And I'm not talking about the OG bloodline, I'm talking about the Solos bloodline.
Bronson Reed.
Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed. There we go. So yeah, didn't he have a feud with Bronson Reed and they was fighting into the crowd? I could be wrong. That could have been somebody else. But um Braun Strowman, that's I'm actually kind of sad to hear that because I've seen in interviews that he was very excited to be back with WWE, and it just kind of seemed like they used him to put people over,
Hmm.
and it doesn't seem like they had like long-term plans for him other than to put over Jacob Fatu and put over Bronson Reed and put over the next big guys. You know what I'm saying? So man, and blessings and prayers to all of these people because they gonna figure it out, possibly end up coming back, going to another promotion or something like that. Because it's not the end of the world when you get released for WWE. I think that Cody Rhodes proved that. Like it's all. I think that when these releases happen, it's almost like a gut check and a wake up call, where it's like never get too comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Go
Yeah.
and create a brand with. You still hear me?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
can
I
still
can
hear
still
you.
hear you. Okay. Go create that brand. Go get over with the audience organically. Like I think Cody Rhodes is like I said, the greatest example of him going all the way back to the indies and not being afraid to take a to bet on himself. And I think that when these releases happen, like I think that's what all talent, because look at me, like in my situation in the music business. I was an underground artist. I ended up signing to Interscope Aftermath Records under Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre, where a lot of people that would be in music world like my WWE, right? I had to leave that
Mhm.
situation and bet on myself. You know what I'm saying? And you have to do that, I think, in all forms of entertainment. Like getting released from WWE is not the end of the world. It's just a wake up call for you to bet on yourself, figure it out, get back on that grind, get hungry again. Because, like I said, as a guy that was signed to a major record label, I've seen how people can get complacent. You know what I'm saying? I was never a complacent person, but I've seen artists get complacent once they get record deals and then they forget what got them there in the first place. And I would just say for all of the people, just my words of encouragement for the people that have gotten released from WWE. It's just about, you know what I'm saying? Let's JR say, go away, learn a new hold. You know what I'm saying? Bet on yourself, get that grit back in you, make yourself so undeniable that WWE has to come back crawling and, you know what I'm saying? Put yourself in that position, man.
See, it's funny because since I've started making content for the last couple of years, normally when these releases happen, people are sad. The fans are sad. They're like, man, they're gonna, they may never wrestle again, or this, that, and the other. They completely forget that indie wrestling is still a thing, and Matt Cardona proved you can make tons of
Yes,
money on the indies. You can make
bro,
tons of
love
money
to.
on the indies.
Yes, Matt Cardona is another example. Yep, of leaving WWE and almost becoming bigger and more impactful after, not even almost. Like I think Matt Cardona is definitely a bigger star than Zack Ryder.
100%. And I kind of get excited because I've had to deal with the media team for AEW and for WWE and even for TNA. I've had to email them, and they're like, we can't, you know certain wrestlers aren't taking interviews at this time. So when these guys get released, I'm like, cool, I want to interview you. I want to hear your side of the story. I want to know who are you outside of WWE. So I'm super excited. I think Braun Strowman is somebody I'm definitely going to reach out to, whether it be for CultureMania or Downtime in the Ring. I want to have a sit down with this man. I want to talk to him. I want to pick his brain because he's huge into hunting, and I just want to hear him out. Him, Shayna Baszler, Dakota Kai. The other two women on the main roster are Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. What are your
So,
thoughts?
oh snap, Caden Carter and Katana Chance, that was the tag team, correct?
That was the tag team.
They were really good.
Yeah.
Like now, I am familiar. They were at NXT, correct?
Yes.
I'm
They were also
actually.
separate before they came together.
Wow. They used to do like a lot of like moves like together. Like they remind me of like a female version of the Rockers. Like that a lot of their offense was like to, you know what my comment about those two are, I am very sad that they didn't get the chance to reach their full potential in their first run, because from what I used to see of them, they were amazing. I just think they never got put in position to be able to really show their personalities and really truly show in ring what they could do. Because what I saw of them when they were about to make their main roster debut, I thought they were phenomenal. I thought literally like they about to change the game. I'm very wow. Like that's a shock that WWE would release those two before they were fully able to show their potential. That's one where I gotta say maybe it was like some backstage politics. Maybe they didn't get along with some people. Maybe who knows? I don't know, but it can't be because of their in-ring work, because I felt like they were amazing.
Oh yeah, 100%. Which, again, for anybody who watched American Ninja Warrior back in the day, Katana Chance is Casey Katazoro, which she was the first ever woman to complete Mount Midoriyama in American Ninja Warrior. So that's how she got her claim to fame. But overall, and then we have a lot of the NXT guys that some of us have thought, okay, this kind of makes sense, and some of them don't, where it's a little bit like, why? Because it was confirmed 100%, it was confirmed that Trips had the final say in this wave.
Wow.
He got rid of people um because there's a weird rumor going on that for the NXT guys, at least, it was not putting in effort or not training as hard as other people. I
Mm.
don't believe that. I believe if you're gonna be there, you're gonna work as hard as you can every day, regardless if you're not feeling it or not, because that is the goal for a lot of people. If they were like, "Hey, Donovan, you want to content create for us for a week?" That is going to be the most stressful week of my life, but that's going to be the funnest week, is being able to do that. And I'm going to lose sleep every day, but it's going to be worth it. And I feel like that's how it is for a lot of these NXT guys. So I don't really believe that rumor, but
But wait, may I
believe it
interject
or
really
not,
quick?
yeah,
I want to just play devil's advocate, right? And I'm not saying this is the case because I don't know. We never know. You are absolutely
yeah,
correct. Correct. Like, if you get put in a situation where it's like, okay, you got a podcast for a week, we're gonna give you this opportunity. You oh man, this is I think that okay, you love this, right? Like you love
yeah,
podcasting, obviously, because you do yours and this one and others, right?
yeah,
So podcasting is something that you have a love and a passion for that you would do anyway.
yeah,
Sometimes I feel like with NXT, or just the new way that WWE is finding talent, I don't think that these are people that grew up pro wrestling fans. I think that the goal is to get to the main roster because that's what they think that they should do. Like, and that's the natural progression. But there's a love and a passion that you have for what you do. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like, I think that sometimes the problem might be when because you see, like on that show LFG, like, oh, such and such was in the Olympics before this, or such and such was
hmm,
a cheerleader for the Dallas Cowboys before this, such and such was a national gymnast. So it's not like these people like grew up loving professional wrestling. I think that
hmm,
sometimes people can get into something and they love the lifestyle. So think about it like this. If you get into NXT and you train and you happen to be naturally good at it, but you didn't necessarily grow up a pro wrestling fan, like you took to it and you get it, you understand it, but you didn't really grow up loving it. Now you get to Monday Night Raw or you get to SmackDown main roster, the lifestyle is different. You're not in the grind no more.
hmm,
You are now taking jets and planes everywhere. You going to countries you never been through. You're eating foods and meeting people the conversations you're having with people are different. WWE is starting to send you to do press to on ESPN or whatever other media outlets they have relationships with. So I'm saying when you get to that main roster, it's a lifestyle change that you have to get used to, that would lend itself to you becoming more lazy. Now the hotels are nicer. You're on TV more. You're signing more autographs. Each individual now has to learn how to control their ego. That becomes an entirely other grind in itself to maintain the hunger to want to be the best when your lifestyle isn't I'm at NXT at the Performance Center every week and I'm in my little apartment. Now I got enough money to buy the car I always wanted. I have enough money to buy the house I always wanted. I just met these things that change in your lifestyle has an adverse effect on if you stay hungry. And that's why the great ones are great because they're able to balance, okay, this lifestyle is what it is, but I love what I do and I want to be the best. And those that get these certain material perks and then that hunger starts to go down a little bit more and a little bit more. And that's why I think going back to the indies sometime is good because it will remind you of why you started doing it in the first place. And it wasn't for the hotel accommodations, it wasn't to be flying on jets. It's not to be taking pictures or Instagram followers. It's because you love what you do. And I do believe that once you make it to the main roster and you start getting the perks of being a quote main roster WWE superstar, it might get a little easy to forget what you were there for to begin with.
I like how you put that. I definitely like how you put that because you're just telling the truth. And I wonder what the equivalent of what we're talking about is to music. And one day we're gonna have to figure that out, and we're gonna have to talk about that.
Oh,
And
we
going
definitely
through,
will, man. You know I got stories for days, man.
we, we got it. We got to talk about the equivalent of that. Of because it could happen where somebody spent 10 years making music, and then somebody only spends 1 year making music, and this is just something that they're just trying. So I definitely want to know later on what that is, and we're probably gonna have you come back on effing around and we just talk about music the entire time
Absolutely,
because
bro. Absolutely,
oh
cause trust that thing does exist. There are people that I've met in the music business that are like the gift of creating music comes so naturally for them, but they never really loved it. Like, you know what I
yeah,
mean? And so they get lost in the lifestyle. So that's just something I've seen in music. But continue.
you have a new show. You have a new show.
Yes,
What is
yes,
your new
yes.
show?
Yes, the Connor Culture podcast, man. So ours come out what every Thursday, correct?
Thursday, yes.
And yet the Connor Culture podcast comes out every Wednesday. So every Wednesday, they can hear me talk about my journey and my stories with music and songs and how the different things went or my perspective on things in show business. And yeah, so Connor Culture podcast. Shouts to my guy G Money, my dog L Boogie, my man J A, who do the Connor Culture podcast with me. So that's every Wednesday on connorculture.com and on the YouTube channel. And also, I just talked to shouts to my assistant Lindsay. She's gonna we're about to start putting this Connor Culture Mania. I'm sorry. We're gonna start putting Culture Mania. Edit that out. We're gonna start putting Culture Mania on connorculture.com as well.
That is awesome. But yes, I saw the announcement and I was like, oh, he's got another show coming out. This is gonna be cool. I'm definitely gonna tune in. I'm excited
Thank you.
to hear all of y'all's perspectives on life. And then just hearing, your stories that you have, going through music and everything, because it's just gonna be an interesting time and I can't wait. But as we begin to wrap up, you know, what are your thoughts? We can do something like a too early thought on what backlash is going to be like come this next week.
Um, I'm very interested to see what John Cena versus Randy Orton looks like at this stage in both of their careers. I think for nostalgia's sake, we are all going to love to see it. But when the bell rings and nostalgia wears off, what are we gonna get? So I hope that it's a good match for both of their sake because they both deserve for the last encounter of Cena versus Orton to be epic and amazing. I'm looking forward to that. Um, I'm looking forward to the four-way United States Championship match because I'm a fan of all four people involved. So I'm just looking for them to have a banger. Um, what other matches do we got at Backlash?
We got Gunther is going to punt Pat McAfee, and he's going to cry,
Yeah.
and then Lyra versus Becky. I think that's all we have currently, 4 matches.
So hopefully that surprise is true that you were mentioning that somebody's gonna come out and help Pat McAfee. I'm looking forward to that. But I'm a Gunther fan, period. So I love all Gunther matches and watching him write his place in history with every match is always dope. Watching what he does inside when we watching uh um as long as he keep his personal life cool, because that's the only thing that I could see that could mess up Gunther becoming a Hall of Famer. It's like as long as he keep his personal life good, we are watching a Hall of Fame career in real time. So every time Gunther is on TV, I enjoy whatever he do. Like I think he's amazing at what he do. And Lyra and Becky, and the fans can say whatever they want in the comments. And she might be a wonderful person in real life, but I've never been a super Becky Lynch fan either. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I
Mhm.
respect her, but as far as the character on television, like, I just never was. I never was a big the man fan. So the thing is, but I do think that they will have a good match. I think they'll have a great match because they're both from the same country, correct?
Yep, they're both Irish.
So I think when it's kind of like when Bad Bunny and Damian Priest had a match in Puerto Rico, right?
Yep.
There's a pride that you have, you know what I'm saying, that you want to put on. It's like when Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks were two black women that headlined WrestleMania. It's like you want to put on for your culture, you want to put on for your people, and you want to show the rest of the world like this is what we could do. So I think they're both Irish, correct?
Yep, they're both Irish.
So I think just as two Irish women being in this situation and Becky being able to elevate a fellow country woman, like you know what I'm saying, by putting on a super good match, I think they're gonna give us a banger because I feel like they feel like they have something to prove and they want to make their heritage and their country proud. And I think also Becky wants to elevate Lyra to that next level. So I think because of that, I expect that match to be one that could potentially steal the show.
Oh, that's gonna be so good. Okay, I like that.
Yeah,
Well, those are our early thoughts for Backlash. The next time you guys see us, we will be discussing Backlash. We will be talking about everything that went crazy throughout the week of wrestling. We are very, very close to all in or not all in, double or nothing for AEW.
yep, yep.
And right now, they definitely need something. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen. A lot of these NXT talents are under 30-day contracts, not 90 days. So who knows where we'll see them next. And I really hope that you guys are enjoying this show because I am. But
Hey, me
any final
too.
thoughts before
Yeah,
we wrap up?
we both gotta watch. So when is Double or Nothing?
Oh Jesus. That's next month. This month. That's this month. That
Okay,
is
okay.
the 26th, I think.
Yeah, so we definitely, and you know what too? I think we should do episodes too randomly where we pick like vintage shit that we talk about. Let's pick like a vintage match or a vintage pay-per-view. Like y'all are as y'all watch this, y'all are growing with us. This Connor this I keep want to say Connor Mania. Like you know what I'm saying? Culture Mania. Y'all are growing with us. So y'all watching us have ideas in the moment as to, you know, more content that we could give y'all aside from just a week in wrestling. Like we could also go back and talk about our favorite matches or matches that are like legendary, just things like that. That just popped in my
Oh,
head. But
I am down for that because there are a couple of matches that I think do not get enough love in the wrestling community, and I'm definitely
I
down
agree.
to just
I
sit on the
agree.
soapbox. Let's do
Hey,
it.
yes. So we gotta pick time. We might have to start doing two of these a week, bro. Like
We can
one
do
where
that.
we do the week in review, and then one where we just pick like something vintage or from the past that we want to react to.
I am down to do that. We can definitely do that, man. That is super easy and it's fun. I am
Yes,
down.
yes. So man, it's always a pleasure. You know what I'm saying? Thank y'all for tuning in to Culture Mania. We're gonna be back at y'all next week. It's going down.
All right, later.
Peace.